Hey, Ross Lynch. How are you? Howdy, howdy. Hello, everybody. Are we ready? Too bad. Oh, I know, you said that earlier. Ah, that happens. Yeah, I figured just in case, it's better off. I'm better off having two than maybe nobody at all. So, um, yeah. Um, and he's been asking. So, well, and he's probably not the only person that has asked. Okay. Um Today we are talking about Ursus maritimus. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but it sounds good in my head. But before we get into that, couple of announcements. I'm gonna announce this Saturday too. Um, I have jury duty starting on Monday of next week. I will not, we will not be doing at least live on Tuesday at 1 p.m. That live will not be happening. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the week. So it's called play it by ears, literally. Um, the other announcement is I am doing YouTube, or I've been doing that all day. Um, I am doing TikTok. I haven't figured out when I'm going to start putting stuff up again. The way I used to do it was I would do YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok and just get it done in one fall swoop. And I did that every day. I don't want to do that every day. I would rather do the whole week as much as possible and then be done with it. I don't think I can schedule TikTok the way out, but we're already 4 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Um, so polar bears are, I was going to say a hot mess, but they're anything but that. These guys are the top of the top. And we'll talk about that as we go through this, but I'm going to use him today because I don't have a live one, luckily. So this is an animal that I have total respect for. Um, how can you not respect an animal that is as amazing as this one? First off, it is one of the few animals. Prey. Hi, Lisa Rodriguez, 6765. How are you? Polar bears are one of the few animals who not only chase people, but if they're chasing you or they're charging at you, they could just be hungry. They're not looking to play nice. They're hungry. Nile crocodiles and polar bears, they're looking for a snack. Other animals, typically, the way it works is if a lion is sick or is old, they may turn to humans. If a tiger is sick or elderly, they may switch to V.A. Morrison, 3979. Knock it off. That's your only warning. Lisa Rodriguez, I have been streaming for quite a while. Don't hold me to how long, but quite a while. Your emojis, V.A. Morrison 3979. Awesome, need to be gone. Hi, Clark. Can somebody, he's been warned. So, like a lot of the animals that we've talked about so far, these guys are known by many other names. Dylan 19 Able, not a. We are talking about polar bears. I know. Ross Lynch, that is an answer I do not have. I don't know what drives an animal to change their. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Honestly. But they do. Polar bears do have several names, such as Nanook, Ice Bear, and Sea Bear. And those names, Ice Bear and Sea Bear, fit this guy perfectly. So these bears depend on the ocean and the sea ice for their life. Well, so one explanation, Ross Lynch, is, let's see if I can find him. And we're going to get to this a little bit later on. If this, they have done genetic testing, and they've discovered that there is grizzly bear in their family tree. Okay? And this coloration doesn't really help them in a cold environment. Whereas this is designed for the cold. Polar bears, like their name suggests, live where it's cold. They do not live in the South Pole, only in the Arctic. They have their paws are the size of a dinner plate, so they're big. These are designed to work like snowshoes. You may also notice the black nose, the black on the feet pads and the toe beans. That black skin helps them absorb heat from the sunlight. The hairs on the coat, at least the outer layer, are hollow. So they allow the light to come in to the hair and down to the skin so the skin can absorb that sunlight. They have a double layer of fur, one that allows the light to come through to the skin and another that keeps them warm. Fun fact, this is the largest carnivore on Earth. These guys, it doesn't get bigger than a polar bear. At least not on land. Yes, they are. They're black underneath all of this white fur. Polar bears are the most carnivorous of all of the bears. So even though all bears are identified within the carnivore sort of, we look at all bears as being carnivores, but honestly, out of all of the bears that we have in North America, which we have the black bear, we have the black bear, the brown bear, the polar bear, and we have the grizzly, which is a brown bear. These guys feed on plant matter and animal matter. And there's not a lot of plants, like Carrie just said, up there, so they do depend heavily on animals. Things like ringed seals and bearded seals make up a large part of this guy's diet. And they can actually smell the seals from underneath the ice. They will also feed on walruses. They will take, I think, beluga. They will feed on whale carcasses. In fact, those are prized. It's one of the few times that these guys may come together to feed. Yeah, typically they are going to be solitary hunters. A female with cubs may bring the cubs with once they reach a certain age so that she can pass down how to hunt. These guys will also take bird eggs. Whoa, whoa, whoa. On the bluebirds? Well, yeah, it would seem so. Bluebirds, the eastern bluebird and the mountain bluebird have feathers that they call it structural coloration, which the way the feathers are made actually refract the light on microstructures that make your eyes think they're blue. Hi, Camilla, UV7. Anyway, back to the polar bear. So they will feed on a whole range of animals, including, but not, including bird eggs and other food sources. If you're in the Arctic, do not feed polar bears. A person that feeds a polar bear, ha ha ha, is a unalived person. No joke. These guys are the top of the food chain. They will eat everything, and nobody eats polar bears. Well, let me rephrase that. Nothing on land that I know of eats polar bears. However, there may be some fish in the sea who will eat a dead polar bear. Greenland sharks, if they come across a dead polar bear in the water, probably going to eat polar bear. They are 7 to 8 feet long or longer. Males are much larger than the females, and they can weigh more than 1,700 pounds. Agreed, Roslinch. Females typically weigh much less, around 1,000 pounds. And as I've already mentioned, we have done genetic testing and found out that these guys are actually polar bears. Or they're polar bears, duh, but they are actually have grizzly bear in them. You're not going to run away from a polar bear. Around where I live, you're not going to find either one. Carnivore, I would not want to meet a polar bear. You have to. Your best chance is to scare them away. I would not. I would not want a polar bear to associate humans with people. Be careful mentioning fire sticks on live at all. Be careful. Um, Polar bears. Oh, yes, that's true. We hope. Um, these guys, as we've talked about before, their coat looks white. That blends them in so well with the environment that they live in. Their paws have a non-slip surface that helps them gain traction on the snow. They even, believe it or not, have webbing between the toes that helps them out when swimming. And unlike most bears that we know of, polar bears do not hibernate. Now, you're going to tell me, but what about females? Sorry, guys, there's something bugging me. Female polar bears don't hibernate. They go into torpor, which is a deep sleep. They may wake up when the cubs are born and then take care of the cubs, but they don't actually hibernate. And if a female is not pregnant, she will not go into hibernation or torpor. One thing that polar bears do have, or female polar bears have, is a thing called delayed implantation, which is where you get pregnant, but the embryo does not attach right away. They can actually delay that. And that's a survival tactic, actually. And we'll get a little bit more into that here in a few seconds. The actual gestation period for a polar bear is around 60 days. A female polar bear has to reach a certain weight within a certain time span, or that embryo will not implant. It will be reabsorbed into the body. That is part of how they work. Now, females do go into their den. Um, so anyway, more about these guys. So once they're in the den, mom's gonna give birth, right? Inside the den, it is an amazing 38 degrees warmer than it is outside. Think about that. 38 degrees warmer than it is in the outside temp. That is warm enough that when the cubs are born, they don't freeze. And some of that is mom's body heat being given off. Snow is an amazing insulator. Female bears will mature around 4 to 5 years of age, but they will not give birth until around 5 or 6 years of age. Now, litters of 2 are typical for polar bears, but they can have up to 4 possible cubs. 3 is the higher you get past 2, your chances are a little bit lower as far as numbers go. When the cubs are born, they weigh around 1.5 pounds. The mother bear, its milk is really, really high in fat. Really high in fat. Their milk is around 32% fat. Now, to put that into perspective, and I didn't add this into my live information, but whoops. Sorry, I bumped the so a cow's milk is typically contains about 3.5 to 4% fat. A goat's milk averages around 3.5 to 4% fat. So much, much higher fat content than others. So yeah. Lots of fat content. Yeah, I did. I mentioned it. But thank you. I am almost done with what I have. Just saying. It's okay. It's okay. You're fine. No problems. A polar bear will store 50% of its body weight as fat. 50% of its body weight in fat. So that may seem like a really small thing. But in the Arctic, a lot of animals depend on their fat to help keep them warm. I would have to look that up, Neil. I don't actually know right offhand. The record I have was from 1960. The bear was 1,102 kilograms, and it weighed in pounds 2,209. And it stood 11 feet 1 inch. So, yeah, they can get big if we let them. So their blubber, their fat keeps them warm, which they need to be warm. Now, mother and cubs form really tight family groups. But what's important to know is the bears, and we've already talked about this, the bears are solitary. Mom wants nothing to do with male bears outside of mating. Because, yes, they do. You're right, Neil, they do. But, surprisingly enough, bears will come together semi-peacefully at a whale kill. Now, there may be some hierarchy there, but they figure it out. Now, yes, they can. Another thing that's sort of cool is polar bears, especially cubs or young males, will play. They will not just males, but cubs in general will play. And they've even been known to play with sled dogs. And I'm not talking killing them, although they probably would do that too. Let's be honest. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Now, as I like to do, we are going to really quick talk about what zoos house polar bears. I'm not going to get into what zoos in North and United States house them. If you want to know that, I can look that up later. But Belgium has 2 zoos that house them. Denmark has 3. Germany has 10. Finland has 1. Italy has 6. 5 in the Netherlands. 13 in Russia. Now, when I say that there's 13 in Russia, I'm talking about 13 zoos or 5 zoos, not total number of polar bears. 4 in the United Kingdom, 6 in Canada, 21 in United States, 1 in Brazil, 19 in Japan, and 1 in Australia. Now, I'm curious to know, and I don't know if I can find out this information, but let's see if I can. There are somewhere. No polar bears in Australia zoos. I don't think so. Wait. I lied. I don't believe there are wild polar bears in Australia. I don't believe there are polar bears in Now, there might be polar bears in zoos, but I don't believe that there are polar bears living in Australia as wild bears. D-Man, are you talking? What do you mean by southern regions? Yeah, I don't think I don't think you're gonna get close enough to a polar bear in a zoo. Right, right, right. Um, and I don't know if, oh, darn it. Yeah, I don't think, I know that polar bears, that's a possibility. Now remember though, koalas are not. Remember, koalas are not really bears. We call them that, but technically they're not bears. What was I going to look up? Oh, yeah. So there's around, as of 2021, there were around 41 polar bears in captivity in the United States. There are 20 in 2023. There were 21 females and 19 males. So that's where that stands. Well, Neil, pandas are classified as bears. Um, yeah, pandas are classified as bears. They didn't always used to be, but they are now. Red pandas, however, are a different story altogether. Is anybody in here on TikTok? Do you use TikTok regularly? D-Man, I know you don't. I'm guessing nobody else does. Okay. That means the struggle is real, guys. The struggle is real. So yeah, polar bears are not doing really well. We are beginning to see breeding occurring between grizzly bears and polar bears, which in effect is making new species as we talk. That's been going on for a few years now. Hi, Experimental Film 6221. I'm good. How are you? Are you new to my channel? Sorry if I don't recognize you. Ross Lynch. I've never, in all my years of doing YouTube, okay, I see why. It's not a weird question, it's just a different question. To answer your question, somewhere between 15, somewhere around 15 feet. That doesn't make any sense, though. It says the small intestine is about 9 to 16 feet, and the large intestine is around 5 feet. You didn't mean to. Wait. Was he hidden? Or was just a comment gotten rid of? Because it's not saying on my thing. Okay, well, as long as that's all that happened, then I'm not gonna. That is possible. Accidents happen. Actually, yes. You are right, D-Man, 9FP. Vitamin A is a fat. It is excess amounts of vitamin A are stored in the liver. And so if you get too much vitamin A, it's stored in the liver, and bam, you can actually die from eating polar bear liver. Fun fact. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Thank you, Ross Lynch. You have made this live a little bit more enjoyable. Um, I'm not I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything, Neil, about it helping with removing salt from their body. Okay. Um, just as a reminder, there isn't going to be, yeah, their kidneys have to be amazing. Neil Golden, if you have not subscribed to my channel, you need to do it. Because you're amazing. What do you do for a living, if I can ask? Because this is not something that, well, it comes from the fact that they have a high fat diet of seals and other marine mammals, which are also high in vitamin A. Really? That's so cool. You sound like somebody who has spent way more time than me in the sciences. I was just curious how you came across your knowledge because you've known stuff that I didn't even know. Or that maybe I've forgotten. One or the other. I go live Tuesdays twice a day on Fridays, and twice a day on Saturday at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. Um, and I have to figure stuff out. I'm an auto. Gotcha. No, that's cool. Very cool. I've done some of that too. So when I tell people that I'm a naturalist, I have um background through schooling, but then I also have the other stuff. Ah, gotcha. That's rough. A dog at heart. I love it. Um, I don't know if everybody cares. I don't know. That's okay if you don't. Um, Jamaica has been ravaged. I don't even know any other way to put it. I haven't seen that many pictures yet. Maybe I don't want to. Um, from Hurricane Melissa, it hit as a category 5 and is the one of the biggest um hurricanes to hit in on land since I think 2018. Um yeah, it's kind of crazy. I have not told you guys what Friday's live is yet, and nobody has said anything. That's kind of crazy to me. Um Friday's live. Friday's live. Sorry guys, it's just taking me a while to get there. It is going to be, wow, okay. It's going to be the Hawaiian black-faced honey creeper and the Christmas Island pipstril. Pip Pipistrel. I'm not pronouncing it right, but anyway, it's a Christmas Island bat and the Hawaiian black-faced honey creeper. And then Saturday we're doing 2 zoo to dos. So, um, please watch my videos, even though they stink. Um, yeah, black-faced honey creeper, and then Hawaiian Island bat. Um, and then next Tuesday we're supposed to be doing Triceratops and Stegosaurus, and then woolly mammoth and American mastodon. Don't know what that's going to look like, but Woolly mammoth and American mastodon may be happening. The Triceratops and Stegosaurus probably will have to be rescheduled for another time in the far future. I don't know when. It's a Christmas Island bat species. I can tell you that much. Is that the exact name? It might be. I have a hard time with pronunciation. Yes, in the same live. They do. Um, yes, it is that bird. It is that bird, Neil Golden. 4709. They do deserve their own live. Um, but since I tend to talk fast, it is just as you said it. I'm trying to think if I want to. We're still chatting, so as long as we're chatting, I'm good. But I really, really need to find a moderator for TikTok. We'll see how much material I end up with. One of my friends from high school lost her husband. I'm not sure what happened, but he passed. Neil Golden, I don't know how. I just know he's no longer with us. Um, I like my channel is all nature, plants, etc. I probably focus more on animals and live. That could change. I really want to get back to my old style of videoing where I actually bring you animals, live animals, and we look at them. Not during lives, because lives are a little bit more, they're more difficult to do that with. My phone doesn't like when I'm outside. So if there is something, as always, that you guys want to see on the channel, you can put it into the comment section. If there is a topic that you want to see if I have on the channel, you can search that up on the channel as well. I also like the song, by the way. I love having somebody on live that adds to my knowledge. And Neil Golden, you have achieved that. So that's cool. That is a good question. I think I have to wait a second. It always takes a couple of seconds for the scripts to come up. Excuse me. Oh, I don't want. Okay. Golf Sturgeon is planned. Should be up Thursday for a video. Um, that'll be up, and then I think I added. And the shovel nose sturgeon is scheduled, but it's going to be a minute. At least 4 weeks before that one. So about 4 weeks on the flat nose. Oh no, shovel nose, sorry. Florida fossils are amazing. I'm jealous. I am. I go fossil hunting up here. Really, Neil? I love fossils. If I go fossil hunting up here, I usually end up with mollusk and crinoids. And then I bought fossils from Florida that were basically with a bunch of gravel. And so I have miscellaneous fossils. but I have most of what I have. I honestly don't know. I'm not. I'm not a real big, like, some stuff I know what they are. I have little tiny vertebrae. A few shark's teeth, like this one that is probably broken. Although the root is there. I have trilobites. I actually have one that I found. And my mom has one. And then I bought two from out of country. And right now, I don't know. It must be my other box. I went to a place in Illinois to go fossil hunting with my nephew. Literally, I am walking down a creek and the rock is upside down. Oh, I believe it because Florida was covered. Maybe not at the same time, but it was covered. See if I can find him. I know I won't. This is one. This is a fossil that was taken from one spot. Believe it's a clam. That's the man. I hate trying to do this. That is awesome. Sometimes, if you're in the right spots along Lake Michigan, you can find. You're probably not going to find trilobites, but crinoids are typical little fossils you can find in my area. That's not a fossil. Now, see, that is something I would love to be able to find is arrowheads. Oh, here it is. This is my trilobite. Arrowheads. Yeah, I don't know. Crinoids, trilobites, and sponge fossils called Bruxella. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, but the lake shoreline offers opportunities to find marine invertebrate fossils, including segmented crinoid stems, brachiopods, and gastropods. Cool. Yeah, that's the if you can get permission from some of the farmers where my dad grew up to look for arrowheads on their land, that's a good place to look. But this was literally that was literally upside down like this. And I had the strongest feeling like I needed to reach down and pick it up. And when I did, that's when I saw it. No, I don't. I'm assuming it's a trilobite of some sort. That's the head right by my finger. Two little points sticking out, and the body. And I don't know anything more about it than that. I don't even know if it originally came from Indiana. I want to go fossil hunting again, but I don't have anybody to go with. Well, that's what I figured. And it's the only fossil that we found that day. It was hot. The insects were biting. It was a 2-hour drive, but you know what? It was worth it for that one fossil. It was free to go out there. The place we went to, you can take a bucket and fill it up. They don't let you do it during the hunting season. But man, if you can get there, it was really cool. There's another place in southern Indiana that's really cool too. What's this? I got that, but what is it? Oh, Neil Golden, um, your your comment got your comment got hidden because of the the helmets. And that was YouTube, not me. Sorry. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it got you again because of the word. It is so frustrating. I need me a paleontologist. You know what happened? You want to know what happened? People's feelings got hurt. No, because these rules had been in place long before people became woke. I've been on Facebook a long time and or YouTube a long time, and yeah, they've always been really strict about that stuff. Okay, I have a question, fossil people. What am I looking at? It's a shark tooth. It's serrated. Great white. It's a meg. A small meg. Evidently, yeah. I have a mess of teeth. It is, yeah, I don't know. I have a fake one. I have this. So that's sort of what I've been comparing to, but I guess I need to stop comparing and be happy with what I got. Well, the one, remember, is fake. I don't. Hi, mate. Matter is king. Be careful saying hi one too many times. Oh, yeah, definitely. I have so much stuff. That would be cool to have. I have stuff that I've collected myself. And the one thing I hate, or not really hate, is when people will ask me what my favorite is. You really, really, really want me to tell you what my favorite is. I don't know why, but that just annoys me. Not annoys me in a bad way, but like there's just something about being asked that question that it's like, why? I did not find this. I did not find this at all, but this is one of my favorite items in my collection. I love these things. Right, Baleen's don't have teeth. Orcas technically are whales, but they're dolphins. Yeah, they are dolphins, but they're in the same family. This is my favorite replica. One of my favorite replicas. And if you know what it is, you're good. Yep. It is Velociraptor, is what I was told. And then these are without a doubt probably the most dangerous thing I have in my collection. That would not be good if I accidentally, like, yeah, these are definitely porcupine quills. Not the type of porcupine you want to get hurt by, but if I had to pick, This is going to make you bleed. It's going to hurt. Yes. I believe crested, but it could be cape. I don't play games with them. That's why they are double bagged. For sure. But I have such a cool hobby. I love my hobbies. And guys, I have to do something before I lose daylight. I have to play my Godzilla game. But I have so many cool pieces. And there just isn't time in the world for me to show you all of the cool pieces. Somewhere in my menagerie, I have a bag of raptor claws, like birds. And then I have a thing of carnivore claws. So I have like they're not real, but I have lion, grizzly bear, Kodiak bear, black bear. Shoot, 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 shoot. Sorry. Harpy eagle. And I know I have them, I just don't know where. Unless that got taken too. Who knows? Well, if you saw my bookshelves, you might question me. You know, I don't know if I've ever seen a wild coyote. I probably have and I don't realize it. You know, people ask me all the time where I get stuff. I have I could always have more books. And when I first started doing YouTube, that's where I got all of the information for my videos that I didn't know already, is I would use books. And now it's like I've seen red foxes. We had at one time we had 3 on my block. Um we may have gray foxes in my area, but I've never seen one. I've seen badger, roadkill badgers, but badgers nonetheless. Oh yeah. I want to order new ones. That's why when I don't buy from gift shops. You can get just as good figures on Amazon as you can anyplace else. And I think my koala that I have came from a zoo gift shop, And I think my spiders came from a gift shop. Just because I don't know where else I would have got them. I take it, Neil, that you hunt. Do you guys have the now see, I've been told that is interesting. From a scientific point of view, they don't exist. Or at least, according to what I've read, there aren't melanistic cougars. Yeah, but some of them, you got to be really, really careful. I'm just saying, you got to be really careful when you're watching videos. Because one of the videos that I saw was not from the United States, like they were claiming. It's possible. And I'm not calling anybody a liar. There's definitely something going on, but all I'm saying is you got to be really careful nowadays. If you see a video of an animal or a picture of an animal, that doesn't mean that it's from that area. In fact, the picture that you showed me, Carrie, of the black cat, that was done in India. Well, I can tell you that Alabama, Florida, at one time had jaguars. So maybe there are. It is possible they come up through Mexico because they're in Mexico. And I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm definitely not saying that it's not possible. That they're moving up, but I do want to show you something, if I can. Okay. So my figures are not the best. Some of them. But I really like this Jaguar. And I like it because it shows sort of the musculature of the cat's face. A Jaguar has a much more muscular face than others. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. My program messed up. This is a melanistic Jaguar. If it's a Jaguar in the daylight, you should be able to see the spots. They should be visible. This is a mountain lion. The face an adult mountain lion, not going to have spots. Babies or young mountain lions will have spots. Just because. Now, I also want to say that just because you see a photo of a black cat doesn't mean that it's a black cat or a black panther. Because pictures and videos can be tampered with. You have to use, when you're looking at pictures of stuff, you got to be really careful. Because at this point, the Black Panther in the United States. No, I gotcha. And I'm not disbelieving you. What I'm saying is, though, you have to be really careful. If you see a post on Facebook and they're claiming it to be this, that, or the other, you got to be careful. Because those pictures can be from other places. Scientifically, if you were to ask your game officer, they're going to tell you that the animals that you're talking about don't exist. Well, they do. A mountain lion, a cougar, they sound incredibly evil. A lot of your DNR, though, your Department of Fish and Wildlife, they don't buy the melanistic cougar theory. Now, on the other hand, with our deer populations being the way they are, mountain lions do not sound. If you did not know what a mountain lion sounds like, mountain lions sound like there's a lady being killed. Oops. Like a human woman that's in serious pain. It does not sound right at all. So, jaguars, with a jaguar, you're going to look at that head. And if what you're seeing has a really defined face, I mean, it's going to be a solid face, then you're dealing with the mountain lion. Then you're dealing with a cougar. Or not a cougar. Sorry, I'm tired. You're going to be dealing with a jaguar. Mountain lions, they don't sound like a cat. And I do think that there's something out there. Um, what those somethings are, I don't know. I'm not going to attempt it. I'm going to do it. I may take a break every once in a while, but I am going to do it. So Neil, I had a guy that used to come into my lives all the time. Yeah, screech owls are interesting. Um, we had a guy that used to come into my lives, said he saw Bigfoot. Believes that he saw Bigfoot. I don't I don't know what to think about it. Bobcats sort of sound interesting too. Um, so many things. I won't, I guess. I've heard of it. Why? He's not being racist. Um, I haven't heard of Glimmerman, I don't think. But guys, we've been live almost 2 hours. Um, it wouldn't surprise me that if they didn't have them. One of these days, maybe I'll get to see a wild alligator. Maybe. Well, that figures. I just don't get me started on people releasing their pets. Because that just ticks me off to no end. Yeah, Florida's pretty bad. Someday, I mean, I don't want to go down to Florida. I don't want to go down to Florida just to see a megalodon, just to get a megalodon tooth, or just to see an alligator, because y'all have more wildlife than that than I want to see. Yeah, that's the problem with having exotic pets in Florida or any place in the south that the hurricanes can get to. I mean, really, if we're being honest. Okay, y'all, I've been live for almost 2 hours. And I'm tired. I would love to go to Florida. It's no less, it's not as scary as Australia, and I want to go to Australia too. If I wasn't afraid to fly. Well, I hope your team wins, Neil, because I don't follow sports. So, to those of you that do, more power to you. I hate when I do that. That's one thing I love about Florida. Well, lucky thing for us, we don't, I guess. I guess lucky for you, we don't have alligators. Well, we're not supposed to have alligators. I have a very relaxed sort of attitude anymore. I know that there's stuff out there that can hurt me. And the older I get, the more I'm okay with it. Hi, Lauren. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing okay. If if it were not, the problem is the reality is though, in the United States, if it were not for hunters, the deer would eat themselves to starvation. That's that's the bottom line. I mean, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. The ideal situation would be for us to allow the predators to exist with us, but well, no, I'm not. If you are hunting and you're hunting for food, which you said you do, it's not going to waste. I believe that we should respect the animal. Um, which if you're hunting for food, you're not letting it go to waste. So I don't have a problem with that. I would have a problem with people who poach Um, yeah. I don't know. I don't have answers. I don't have answers for all of the issues. I wish I did, but I don't. I don't think anybody. Makes it more challenging. I would think. You have to be. I would think you have to be way more careful with your body odor. Sorry, guys. I gotta put my critters up before I forget. I have seen people hunt or people fish with bow and arrow. I saw a guy take a good sized catfish out of the Kankakee with a bow. Okay, guys, I am calling it a night. I have to film. I have to do some filming. It makes you wonder what people were thinking. Night, guys. Thank you for coming in. Oh, not a problem. You guys, if you're chatting and things are going good, I don't mind keeping chat open. Bye, guys. Thank you, Neil Golden, for coming in the chat. Hopefully, you'll be back. Bye bye.